Hello everyone, and welcome to Door.78's 30-minute tutorial. This is Adrian, your instructor, and tonight we're going to turn this painting into this beautiful painting here of a beautiful red tree with the snow-capped mountains in the back and the moonlit back there as well. So let's get started. As always, the materials will be down in the description box. But we're going to start off now with our large flat brush. For me, that's a 1-inch flat brush. So whatever size is large for you, it all depends. What you want to do is get that brush wet it a little bit in your jar of water. Get those bristles nice and soft. And then just get the excess water off on your rag. And now what I'm doing is I'm getting some black paint, some white paint, mixing it together, and I'm making a nice gray color for the background. So I just take my brush and go ahead and put that gray on the background there. And I did this just so everyone could see how forgiving acrylic paint is. Now this was a painting that I've done a while ago, but as you can see, I could just paint right over that painting and start over all over again, start a new one. So this is just to help you to understand that sometimes when you're in the middle of painting and say for example you step back from your painting and you don't like what you see, you could always just cover over that painting with whatever color you have in the background and then start all over again. That's the way that you correct your painting when you're painting with acrylic paints, and that's the way you do it. So what I'm doing now is doing just that. I'm going over that entire painting, the previous painting, and I'm mixing in the gray color that I mixed together. I'm adding some white to it, just making a nice background, because what I'm going for is a kind of a misty, foggy atmosphere, the type of atmosphere that you would see around mountains in the evening time, especially when there's a body of water there. Just a nice, cool, misty background. And so with me using that nice, cool color gray, that light gray, and mixing in that white, and having some of the darker grays come out as the shadows, that's going to set this painting up very nicely. And at the same time, it's covering over those flowers and the grass that I have for the other painting. By the way, that painting is called Beautiful, and that's a painting that we do at Door.78 in a private paint party. So if you would like to host your own private party with your friends and your family, just drop us a comment down there in the comment section and we'll get back with you shortly. So just go ahead and get that paint in there. Paint that background very nicely. Now, what you saw me doing when I was pressing my brush against the canvas there, all I was doing was getting all the paint out of my brush. That's what I was doing for that step. And so now that we got the background nice and painted in, you could take that large flat brush that we're using there. You take that large flat brush, and I'm just adding a little bit more white to the painting, to the background there. And the reason I'm doing that is just like I said, to create that atmosphere that we need in the background. A nice misty, cool maybe summer night where you got a nice breeze going there, right there where the mountains are going to be with that water there. Now I'll turn my brush flat sometimes, and that's just to get a nice blend, and I'll rub it back and forth as you see I'm doing here. And that just gives it a nice blend as well. So you could try that step if you like as well. So now what we're going to do is just go ahead and dry let our canvas dry there. You could just let it dry, get a blow dryer or a fan, and make sure that it's nice and dry. Take that large flat brush. This would be a good time to clean it. Dry it, put it away. Well, don't put it away, but just put it to the side because we're going to come back to it in a little bit. So I'd like to take this time to just thank everyone that has been tuning in to our channel and has been watching our 30-minute tutorials. Really appreciate all the support, and I really appreciate that you all like, subscribe, and share the videos with your families. So thank you all very much for supporting DoorDash78 and the arts. Now what I have here is a sponge dabber. It's in a circle, and I'm using this for the moon. So what I'm doing is just dabbing that brush or that sponge onto the canvas, and I twist it a bit just to get that paint on there and to make it nice and round. And you could do the same thing. And now I'm just pressing more paint just to make sure I got a nice dab of that white paint in a circle. And that's all we're going to do for the moon with that circle sponge. Now for our mountain, I'm just making a line here with my small angle brush. This is an angle brush I'm using. The angle brush is in the flat brush family. And I just made a line that kind of looked like some mountains back there. And once you make that line in with a darker color gray, we don't want to go black right now. We just want to go with a darker colored gray. And once we do that, go ahead and fill in up under that line with that gray color. And as I'm doing this, you see too that I mixed in a little white in there. And that's just for my taste. I felt like maybe the gray was just a tad bit too dark, so I just added some white to it to turn up the lights on that color, and just lighten it up a bit. And now I think I got about the perfect tone there. And so I'm just filling in everything up under that line that I drew, and that's how I'm creating those mountains. And I'm just brushing those colors in and just blending those colors in with the colors that was already on our canvas. And that's how you make that contrast for those mountains there. And again, this is my angle brush that I'm using. So you just want to make sure that you have a nice amount of paint on there as you're doing this step. And that'll help you to blend those mountains in very nicely. So now we'll take that brush, our angle brush, we're going to clean it and we're going to dry it, because for our next step we're going to put the snow cap on the mountain. So you want to get all that gray out so you can have a nice white snow covered mountain, snow cap mountain that is. And I just loaded that brush up with white paint, and right over the tip of the top of that tallest mountain peak, I'm just gonna put white paint up there alongside the edges that I drew in. And now I'm just gonna bring that brush down and streak that white paint going down the mountain, along the side of the mountain, coming from the very top of that mountain peak. And now that gives us the appearance that that mountain peak is snow capped. I think that gives a really nice perspective on that mountain there. Now what I'm doing here is just lightening up the mountain edge there. But as we go in the video, you're going to see that I'm actually going to take that out, because I didn't like that plateau coming off of that mountain peak the way I thought I was going to like it. So in the meantime, we'll just keep that there, but you'll see that I'm going to change it a little later. So go ahead, take that brush, clean it, dry it, and you can put that to the side because we'll use it later. And pick up your large flat brush. Load that flat brush up with white paint, And now what I'm doing is I'm giving it a horizon. Well, not a horizon line, but I'm giving it a shoreline. Because now we have the mountains there in the background. And right there in front of the mountain is going to be the body of water. Now that could be your stream. It could be a river. Whatever you want it to be in your painting, this is totally up to you. This is your painting. If that's a river, if it's an ocean, whatever it is, we just want to make that body of water, have that body of water going there. So we're going to have that white paint, and we're going to brush back and forth with our brush there. And as I showed you all before, I turn my brush flat sometimes to get that blending in there. And we want to just keep on getting our white paint in there, blending those colors together. And this is the part here where I was telling you that I didn't like that plateau. So again, acrylic paint is very forgiving. Look at that. I just erased that plateau right out of there. Put the background color for the sky back in there. And now that plateau and that mountain is gone. And that's how you do it. That's how you correct any of the mistakes that you feel like you've made in your painting. You could go right back over it and correct it. So now I'm just going with a very soft touch on my brush. Very soft touch, and going back and forth across the canvas. That gives it a nice blend, a nice misty look. And then after I've done that, it's time to clean this brush, dry it, and put it to the side. Because we have our mountains done. We have our moon there. We got our snow cap. And we got our water that we put in there. So now it's time to start working on the rock star of this painting. And that's going to be our tree that's sitting on a little cliff that's closest to us. Now I say closest to us because we're going to make those mountains in the back. We're going to push those to the back of our painting. We're going to do that by putting in a cliff that's a bit larger as well as darker. And by us using this black color to do this cliff that we're putting here in the front, is actually pushing everything else, the lighter colors, to the back. And that's what gives us that depth perspective. So go ahead and draw your cliff in however you like it. Whatever you want to do there. Make sure you make it jagged and not just very round, because this is a mountain cliff. Those are rocks, so go ahead and draw those in. And while you're doing that, I'd like to take this opportunity once again to thank everyone for supporting DoorDash78 as we try to bring happiness and joy to everyone through painting. Our mantra is keep calm and paint. So much going on in the world right now. To us, art is a necessity because it gives you a nice, wholesome escape, and it's very relaxing. Very relaxing, and it gives you an opportunity to create something that you could be very, very proud of. So again, thank you all for supporting us. And if you're new to the channel, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button down there, that like button. That will help us out a lot. And if you could subscribe to our channel, that would be awesome, because then you could get a chance to see many other tutorials that you may like. And then share this video with your friends and family so that they too can enjoy painting with us and the relaxation that comes along with it. So now that I put my cliff in there, or my rock, now I'm going to go with my tree. And this too is in black paint, and I'm still using that angle brush, the same brush I used for the rock, the angle brush. And when I'm doing trees, I don't like to just do straight lines with the trees. As you can see, that trunk of the tree is very bendy. I know that's not really a word, but if you have listened to any of my tutorials, or have come to any of our paint classes, you know that's a word that I use all the time, bendy. And all that is doing is just describing that the that the tree is not just straight up and down. The branches are not straight, but they're very curvy, very bendy. As a matter of fact, the more bendy, curvy, or some say whimsical you make your branches and your trees, the better they look for some reason. And I think it's because in creation things are not always just perfect. Things are not the same, so when you put a little imperfection in there, it looks more realistic. So go ahead and put your tree in there. And the tree that I'm trying to accomplish here is a jacaranda tree. Now these trees come in so many beautiful colors, but this jacaranda tree that we're going to put in today, that we're painting today, is going to be a red jacaranda. So we're just going to use our brush to put in our branches. You can put in as many branches as you like, as little branches as you like. It's up to you. And when we're talking about these trees, I want you all to always remember that we're artists. We're not copying machines. So whereas I might be putting in a red jacaranda, you may not want a red jacaranda. You might want a bonsai tree. You might want right there an evergreen tree. It's totally up to you. I want you to go for what you know. Be as creative as you want to be. I'm just teaching techniques. I want you all to be very creative. So once you've done your tree, go ahead, dry that angle brush, clean it first, then dry it. And the next thing we're going to grab is a large round brush. Now we're going to use this large round brush to put the leaves in the tree. And this is one of the simpler ways to do leaves on a tree. And I like the effect that it has, especially when I'm doing jacaranda trees. So we'll get this large flat brush, and I'm going to start off with the red color first. I'm going to put the red leaves down first. And so go ahead and load that brush up with your red paint or whatever color paint you're using to do your tree. Like I mentioned, jacarandas come in so many beautiful colors. There's green jacarandas, there's yellow, blue, purple, red, white. They come in so many beautiful colors. So at this point, I want you all to be very, very creative. Try different colors and see which one you like the best. So I got my brush loaded with the red paint, and all I'm doing now is just pressing and releasing, pressing and releasing. And I'm just doing that in all different spots on those branches. Now, I don't want you all to put these press and release these leaves in some type of particular pattern. No, don't do that. We don't want to look like soldiers standing in a row. All I want you to do is wherever your eye looks at first, dab that paintbrush, press and release that paintbrush onto those branches. So once you got that background color in, which is the darkest color, now you can go in with your other color, your light color. I'm going to go in with the white because with me going in with white on top of the red, if you're noticing what that does, it's turning some of the leaves pink, some of the leaves are white, and at the same time, some of the leaves are still red. And that's the contrast that I want. I wanted those three different colors in the tree. And this, to me, is the easiest and the quickest way to accomplish that. So, again, you got that background color, which was my red. Now I'm doing the same thing with my white color, just dabbing that white over the red, and it's turning some of those leaves pink. And then later on, I'm going to go back in there with my red again to make sure that I give it that pop of red, because I don't want it to be a pink jacaranda tree. I want it to be a red one. But with the pink and the white there in the tree, it gives us that nice contrast. It makes the tree not look so flat. It gives it some dimension. So now that I've done the tree, with jacarandas, they like to shed their leaves, and those leaves are so beautiful as they carpet the ground that's up under the tree. And so that's what we're putting in now. We're putting in that nice carpet of red jacaranda leaves on that cliff that we have there, that mountain cliff that we have there in front. And so again, I'm going with the base color with the red. And then after I put the base color down, then I'm going to go on top of that with the white color. And again, that's just going to give us some contrast, some dimension. So if you're liking this video so far, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button, give us a like, and share this video as well. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. And thank you so much for supporting Dora.78. Now what I've done there is I've just dabbed some of the leaves, around the tree to give the appearance that the leaves are falling, which is usually what happens with jacaranda trees. That's why they give such a beautiful carpet on the ground underneath the tree. And so we're just kind of giving this painting some movement, some motion. And that's with the leaves falling there. And we just did the same step. Now, so that our tree doesn't look so flat, nor does our cliff look so flat, I just went on ahead with a dry brush of white paint. And now I'm just dry brushing areas on that cliff to give it some dimension. Give it the appearance that light is reflecting off of some type of bend or some type of what can I call it? I was gonna say protrusion, but I don't even think that's a word. But that light is hitting off of something that's sticking out from those rocks there. And then of course, with the bark of the tree, that the light will hit off of that differently. So we're just putting some highlights in the tree and on our cliff. And then as we were doing that, I picked up a little red from the leaves there and threw a little red down there in the water to show a slight reflection of that red tree in the water right there up under the tree. So add that nice little touch to it as well. So at this point, we're almost done. I'm going to grab my detail brush. And what I'm doing now with the detail brush, I loaded it up with black paint. And now that I have put the leaves in there, I just want to show some of the branches in between the leaves. And to me, when you do this, it makes your painting look oh so much more realistic. So all I'm doing is just adding branches in little spots, little lines that look like branches in between or on top of those leaves. And it actually make it look like those branches are peeking out from in between the leaves. And I just like the effect it gives to that. Now that's something I do. You don't have to do that, of course, but that's just a nice little touch that I like to add to my trees, especially jacaranda trees. I like to do that when I'm painting those. And that's with the angle brush. I'm sorry, not the angle brush, but that's with my liner detail brush, because that brush is very, very thin. It's a very thin round brush, and that helps you to get those very nice thin lines for the branches, and it helps you to keep those branches bendy too, by the way. So as I promised you all before, you can see me now with that red paint. I'm just adding more red on top of the pink and white leaves that I have there, because again, I want this to be a red jacaranda and not a pink one. But if you want it to be a pink one, you don't have to do this step. And again, if it's any other color jacaranda, it's up to you. where you want to put this last dab of color. So it's up to you. And at this point, the tree is done. Our jacaranda, being a rock star of that painting, sticking out there, very nice and beautiful. But at the same time, we have our snow-capped mountain and the moon in the background. And the very last step to do, and this turns your painting from just a painting to a masterpiece, and that's to sign your name. So I'm using my liner brush to sign my name, but you could definitely use an ink pen, a marker, a pencil, whatever you like. And you could write your name, an initial, a date, a symbol. It's up to you, but just make sure that you sign your work and be proud of it. You did this. You created this, and look how beautiful it is. Wasn't that relaxing? I know you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much again. Once again, I hope you all enjoyed this video. As a matter of fact, I know you did. And I know you're not going to be able to wait for our next one, which is coming up very soon. But thank you for supporting DoorDash 78. Please, again, hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this with your friends and family. Tell your friends and family about our channel and tell them to come on and paint with us. Maybe we get a few of them together and you all paint this painting together. But there you have it. The beautiful, beautiful red jacaranda tree. Thank you all so much.